Hello there, good evening. I'm going to I want to show you a quick tutorial. Actually, it's not quick, and that's because this can be kind of complicated and there's a lot of settings. So if you're looking for a quick tutorial on how to live stream in 360 to YouTube, this might not be the best one, but I am going to go into a little bit greater detail into some of the settings of the softwares to make sure that you're getting the best experience and that maybe I can answer some of the questions that might arise when you go to do this. So to start, I will tell you that I'm using my Theta 360 camera here, this Theta S. You could be using any number of video cameras that are 360 enabled. I think the Theta right now is kind of the easiest one. You can see here that I have it attached to a tripod and that I've also added a little extension here so that I can get the USB plug. You're going to have your camera plugged into the computer and you're going to have to put it into live mode. If you want to know how I made this little extension here, there's a video linked below where I talk about it at the beginning. So before we do anything, the best thing to do is to get your camera into 360 mode and then get it plugged in to the computer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down the power button and the camera mode button at the same time, and the camera's going to turn on, and I'm going to know it's in live mode because it says live underneath the video camera. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my camera and I'm going to plug it into the side of the computer, and that's good to go. So it's not going to run out of battery. It's on my tripod. It's all set up and ready to roll. All right, so that's sort of the hardware side of things. Now we need to talk a little bit about the software side of things. So to start, you are going to need a software called OBS, and that's Open Broadcasting Software. It's completely free and open source, and so you're going to need to go to obsproject.com and download the OBS Studio for whatever operating system that you're using and get that installed and get that running. And if you're not sure about the Theta and getting it into live mode, or if you haven't done this already, you're going to need to go to theta360.com and click on downloads, and you're going to need to download the live streaming app. This is just a little Kodak blender that's going to run in the background, and you're going to have that installed as well. So before we go any further, make sure that you have the live streaming app from theta360.com installed and that you have the open broadcasting software installed on your machine. Okay, so to get started here, we need to do some things over in YouTube, and then we're going to do some things in OBS. So the first thing we need to do is go to our YouTube channel and click on Video Manager. And then once we do that, on the left-hand side, we're going to see this box here called the Creative Studio. And the Creative Studio has got a list of the things that we can do in Creator Studio, one of which is live streaming. So when we click on live streaming, we're given two options. We have Stream Now, which is a new beta version, and it's really actually quite simple to use. And if you just want to get a quick live stream out, that's what I suggest you use. And then you can create a live stream event, and that is where there are a lot more features to be checked and used, and that's where we're going to live today. Now, in the future, Stream Now will most likely have more options and probably allow for 360 video, but for now, Events is the only place. So when we go to the Events, we're going to go to the upper right-hand corner, and we're going to click New Live Event. And if you know when your event is going to start, that's very, very helpful because you need to have a start time. I'm just going to leave mine at 8 p.m. It generally just rounds up. You're going to have a title, so we'll just call this Test 360. And if you'd like to add a description and tags, you can. Very similar to what's going on in just when you upload a normal YouTube. And then we're going to need to go over to the advanced settings. And this part is pretty important here. A lot of this stuff you can just leave as normal. And I'm not going to get into all of the different settings because they're pretty self-explanatory as you look down them. And if you're not sure what any of them are, I suggest you just kind of play around or just drop me a line on Twitter. But all the way here at the bottom of the advanced settings, you're going to see an option called 360 video. And then we want to check this box to say this is in fact a live stream in 360. And that just means that YouTube's going to treat it a little bit differently on the back end. And if you were to click on this little question mark here, which I suggest you do the first time, it's going to bring up your live encoder settings. And this is important when you are streaming live to the internet, especially doing it through OBS. We have a lot of options, and one of those options are to pick what our video bitrate is. Basically, pick how much information we're sending up into the internet, kilobytes per second. And so we need to make sure that OBS is sending up the video at the same size and the same bit rate as YouTube is expecting it to get. And so when you click on that little question mark, it gives you some of the presets so that when we're in our encoding software, or OBS, we can make sure that they match. So I've brought up the two that you would most likely want to use with your Theta, 1080p and 720p. Now, I brought up both because if you're going to be connected to the internet or you have a really fast Wi-Fi connection, I suggest you go with 1080p. But if you are on a Wi-Fi connection that might not be so fast, or your computer is not hardlined into the internet, I suggest you knock it down to 720. And that just makes sure that your users have a more quality experience because they're not going to experience a bunch of buffering. So for this example, I'm going to show you the 720p settings when we get into OBS. So we're going to need to know these numbers when we start getting our settings going. So I'm just going to leave this window open for later. So I've checked my box here, and really that's the only setting on this page that I changed. So I'm going to hit create event, and it's going to take me to this page, and this is sort of like the dashboard where we change things, and this is our ingestion settings page here. So we have the option of adding cameras. For this tutorial, I'm only going to show one camera, but you might be fancy and have more. And then down here where it says choose the bitrate for your recorder, we're going to use a custom ingestion, and we're going to select a stream. Now I have a stream created for the 1080p, but we're going to make a new stream. So we're going to hit create new stream. And this just allows us to reuse old streams that we've used before. That way it's just faster to have it set up. So I'm going to hit create new stream. I'm going to give it a name. We're going to call this Theta 360. And this is where we want to start looking at those settings. So it says maximum sustained bitrate that you can support. And this is our settings here. And if you remember correctly from our other page, it says video bitrate range 1500 to 4000. So under this setting, I'm going to go down to 1500 to 4000, 720p. And so we're good to go there. And I'm going to hit save changes. And now we've got a custom ingestion set up for that. The next thing here is going to say select your encoder. Mine is default to other encoders because I've already done this. And because we're using OBS, we need to select other encoders. And essentially all it's going to do is just give us all of the information that we would need. And for OBS, the only thing you need here is the stream name. And this is a good time to point out to you that you can't see my stream name. And that's very important because the stream name is basically a direct, live, no authentication needed feed to your YouTube channel. So you do not want to distribute the stream name to anyone. So I've blacked mine out because I don't want you to know mine. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm now ready to go. That's all we really need from here. So I can hit save changes, and I'm good to go in YouTube. I've got my stream name, and I'm ready to go over to OBS. So go ahead and open up OBS, and we're gonna get started in OBS. Hi, you can see me. So the first thing that I need to do is on the right-hand side of the software, I need to create a new scene. So down here at the bottom, this is really where we control OBS and our broadcasting software. And when we create a scene, essentially we're creating a setup of cameras and logos and whatever things that we want. And we can create multiple scenes, and then during the broadcast we can just switch between those scenes. So maybe you have a little intro video that you want to use, and then you want to switch to the live feed of your camera, and then maybe you have a little outro video that you want to use. Well, that would be 3 different scenes that we would then use the mixer in OBS to control. So that's a little bit of what we would call production editing. Essentially, that's not being done in post-production, that's being done live in real time. And when you watch the news, that's what they're doing. There's a guy sitting at a board similar to something like OBS, and they've got the news intro video set up on one scene feed, and then they've got the news anchor camera 1 on one scene, and they've got camera 2, and that's what that guy does, is he controls, or she, excuse me, the feed between what's going out live. So we need to create a new scene. I'm going to call mine Theta 360, common theme here, and hit OK. And you'll see my video goes away because I don't have any sources. So that's the next thing that we need to do, is we need to set what our sources coming in are. And I don't know that it really matters, but I like to actually set up my scene's input first. So I'm going to go over to settings, and I'm going to go down to video, and I want to set my basic canvas resolution to match what I showed over here in YouTube. Remember when we clicked that little question mark and it said if you want to broadcast in 720p, this should be your resolution, 1280 by 720. So when I go back over to OBS, my base canvas resolution should be 1280 by 720. So I'm going to get rid of this, type in 1280 by 720, and I want my output resolution to be exactly the same as that. So 1280 by 720. You can leave the other 2 things alone. For now, 30 frames per second should be enough. Basically, cutting this down would again make that video stream a little bit smaller. So our video settings are correct for this particular broadcast. So for now, we're going to go ahead and hit OK. And then we're going to go over to sources, and we're going to select our camera again. So when I click the plus button down here next to sources, this is essentially where I can go in and select what I want to bring in. And for the Theta, it's considered a video capture device. So we're going to click video capture device, and it's going to ask us to give it a name. So I'm going to call this my Theta S and hit OK. And then it's going to pop up with this dialog box and basically ask me to select the Theta S. So down here under device, you can see that we've got the built-in iSight camera, we've got the Ricoh Theta S, and then we've got the Theta UVC blender. So the first thing I'm going to do is select the Ricoh Theta S because I want you to see what this looks like. Essentially, what we're seeing is both of the video cameras exporting their videos going out, right? And the reason that we downloaded that live stream software at the very beginning, which is the Theta UVC blender, is because it's going to take those 2 circles, it's going to turn them sideways, and it's going to stitch them together in what we call the equirectangular view, which is this guy, which is great. And that's what we want. And you can see here that the preset is 1280 by 720. Again, that matches everything that we had going on, and so I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And you can see here then that it has output the source right onto my live broadcast viewer. I'm going to get a little fancy, and I'm going to also add an image. I used a plugin for Adobe After Effects, and I made a little logo, and I want to show you how that works, because I have a feeling that some people are going to want to put logos in. So I'm going to import this logo. That's what it looks like, and I'm going to hit OK. And I'm going to, where are you, logo? Way down at the bottom. So you can see that it's way too big here. So I'm going to control click, and I'm going to go to transform, and I'm going to say fit to screen, and it's going to make it the correct width, and then I'm just going to drag it down to the bottom of my feed. And the reason my logo looks so goofy is because when you put this into that 360 spherical mode, that should look like a little circle at the bottom. And when we get into YouTube, you'll see how that comes out. Okay, so we've got our settings set up over here. We should have selected our stream name and copied that. And the next step is to take that stream name and put it into OBS. So essentially what OBS is going to do is it's going to broadcast our video feed and whatever we put in there out into the internet using this unique stream key, and YouTube is going to be on the other end just kind of waiting for something to come through on that stream key. And this is really how we connect our YouTube channel to OBS. So it's important that you don't share that with anyone and that you get that plugged in before you do your broadcast. Up here at just above the stream key, just make sure that you've got YouTube selected. You don't need to change any other settings. And then we hit OK. And we're going to go ahead and start streaming. So we're going to go ahead and start sending our stream off out into the internet. And you can see down here that it's using up a pretty good amount of my CPU. Not too much, because the settings are pretty small. We also have the option to record our stream, and YouTube's going to do that for you automatically. But if you want to copy on your computer without having to download the YouTube copy, you can also record your stream, and you can set up those settings in the setting mode. I'm not going to get into too much of what OBS can do, but it's a really cool software. So we're streaming to the right stream key. Now we need to go back over to YouTube. We've got our settings configured, and so next we're going to go to our live control room. And this is where you're going to want to be before your broadcast, because YouTube wants to make sure that you are streaming properly and that they're getting a good feed and all of that. And in fact, they're going to tell us right here under stream status in just a second if we're pulling in a good stream. And it's saying that it is in fact a good, healthy stream. We've got 720p being streamed from my camera, and it's inputting 720p here, which is great. And so what we want to do is we want to preview. And when we click preview, this is sort of like taking us to the next level. And so it's actually going to come up and say, are you sure you want to preview? Because what's going to happen is I'm not going to be able to change any of my ingestion settings once I hit preview. It's going to sort of lock that in. So you're going to want to make sure that the ingestion settings that you did on the previous page, you don't want to change those before you do that. And that's right here, this custom settings. So make sure that this matches whatever it is that you're putting out in OBS, just like we did before you hit that preview button. Otherwise, you won't be able to make any changes. So I go to my live control room, and I'm going to hit the preview button, and I'm going to say, yep, that's okay. Go ahead and pick up my feed. We can see our stream status is good. And I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to hit preview. And we're just kind of waiting for your live stream to preview. So we kind of got to wait a second. Okay. This should show us a preview. I'm going to refresh my page. I might have hit that little play button a little too soon. Yeah, I think I hit that little play button too soon. Let's try this. Here we go. So this is going to show a preview of my live stream, which is important to do before you go out. And I looked down so that you'd be able to see how that logo actually gets stretched back together, which is pretty cool. And there is a picture of me in that live stream, which is cool. Health is good and everything is good to go. And so at this point, you're ready to start your live stream. And if for some reason you need to change the start time of your live stream, which just changes when people are allowed to come in and see it, you can go back to info and settings, and you can change when folks can come in and see it. You also have this option over here, which is view on watch page, and I'm going to open that up in a new tab just so that it's always good to be able to see what your users are experiencing. And so when I go to this, it's probably just going to show me a little countdown. Yeah, you can watch the live stream soon. So just because in YouTube I'm able to see in my control room the preview, my folks can't see it until I actually start the live stream and the time is reached. So once I hit that start live stream, we'll be doing a test. And I'm not going to do that because my computer is going to have trouble handling a live stream and recording all at the same time. But when you're ready to go ahead and start your live stream. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me on Twitter or my YouTube page or via email at dhotler@gmail.com. But thank you for watching.